Hi there, Lloyd Machedo. Speaking to you from LloydMachedo.com. Who's Lloyd Machedo and Think Personal Branding? All right, in today's edition, I'm just going to answer a couple of questions with regards to jobs in UAE, which I got from the readers. I'll speak to you about the future of jobs in the Gulf and why I think that if you're an employee and you're stagnant, you most probably will lose your job. Then I got a confidential letter from a construction company, which I'll share with you. Then people have asked me my opinion about a UAE firm in India, which got $1 billion contract. You have people asking me about what is my opinion about the Saudi prince getting an award in Pakistan. Then my opinion about a Saudi app, which seems to be causing a controversy. Then a British citizen who is the jihad bride, she wants to come back, whether I'm for it or against it. Then this question is very frequent. What is Expo? And why am I of the opinion that Expo 2020 may not succeed in UAE? I'll be speaking to you with regards to that topic. And I'm going to give you evidence, actual evidence to prove it to you that UAE, like any other country, not just only UAE, UAE can spy on your phones. They can spy on your social media. It's very easy. And I will give you authentic news links to prove it to you what I'm going to say. And finally, I'll share with you a couple of comments and funny stuff, including some controversial stuff from readers. So let's quickly move in. The first one is with regards to jobs in UAE. This is a common question that I keep getting, especially from my clients. Why am I not getting a job? It's very simple. The reason you're not getting a job is because the steps that you incorporate are not proper. What is the first step? The first step is obviously getting your resume. So if your resume is not good enough as per country, because let's say Canada has a different format, New Zealand, different format, Australia, different format, Middle East, different format. So if your resume is not in sync with the format that is acceptable, with the language, the jargon, the way you describe yourself to the market, that is the first step. You'll not be called for an interview or shortlisted. So first one is resume. Second one is, if you do get called, let's say, for example, every week you get one interview call, that means your resume is good. And if after that, after being called for the interview, you're not getting jobs, it's because your interview skills suck. Take my word on this. You may assume that your interview skills are great. For example, someone says, simple question like, tell me something about yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, why should I employ you? Or they just have a general conversation. You are not doing something right. And it is only experts who have been in this field for 5 years, 10 years, like me, 11 years. I can cherry pick and tell you what exactly you're saying is wrong. Then the third step comes in the close of sale or the negotiation of the salary. So if any one of these three steps is not done properly or you're not really good at it, you will not get a job. And last, if not the least, is the strategy. If you don't have a strategy, if you just land in Dubai, you just land in UAE or the Middle East, you just landed there. And your strategy is, I'll apply everywhere, send emails everywhere, and get called for interviews and then get a job. That will never work. It will never, ever, ever work. Spamming people with your resume, simply sending your resume like a cold call or a cold email, it's not going to help you get a job. This is not the 70s or the 80s, the early 80s, where there were only 1 million people in the UAE. Today, there are 10 million. It's 10 times more. And jobs are very tough to get. So I hope you understand why you're not getting a job, because either of these categories is not done well. And most importantly, you're not seeking professional advice. Just as when you want to get married, you don't take a photograph with your smartphone. Then why the fuck do you put your photograph from your smartphone on your CV? If when you're getting married, you approach a professional designer to design your wedding card, professional to prepare the buffet, the food, a professional to organize the music, the sound system. For a wedding, which is one day, you approach a professional, a very good professional, through recommendations, through comparisons or price. For a career that will last you a lifetime, that can change your life forever, do you approach a professional or do you copy paste from the internet? So when you give so much of importance for a wedding day and you don't give any importance for your career, how do you expect to get a job? So I hope this answers your question. The other question that I got yesterday from a gentleman who's a banker, he said, Loy, does experience really matter in the UAE? It's very simple. Do you know how many nationalities there are there in the UAE? Have you interacted with all the nationalities? Do you know that certain nationalities behave in a certain way? There are certain likes, there are certain dislikes. Filipinos have a certain pattern. Syrians have a different pattern. Lebanese have a different behavior pattern. Let's say Somali, Sudanese have a different style of doing things. Indians, Pakistanis have a different way of doing things. So have you experienced with all these people? Do you know the different places in the UAE? Al-Quoz, Umarnal, Ras Al Khaimah. Do you know these different places? Do you know which are the corporate companies that you should be targeting? Do you have contacts and connections? It's like you being an Indian. Let's assume a Chinese guy just comes to India and he's expecting to get a well-paid salary, even with no experience in India, doesn't know anything of the market of India, doesn't have any contacts and connections. You'll say, well, how can he get a job? He needs to know all this. So you being an expatriate, someone who's just come as a guest to Dubai or UAE with zero experience of the local market, how do you expect to, get a job? And that is where experience does come into play. Last, if not the least, the question that people, Lloyd, what is the right salary to ask? Obviously, you need to research and find out what is the industry standard. You need to know what is it that the freshers get, freshers of in that industry who are just come new. And based on that, you decide. You don't just pick a number out of the air or ask a couple of your friends and then decide, oh, everyone's getting 6,000. Okay. Nod your head, ding, 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 and say, oh, even I will ask 6,000 and negotiate. Never works that way, has never worked. And I can assure you, if that is how you cherry pick a salary, you'll never get a salary. You'll almost get 50% of what you ask. Okay, so these are questions in relation to jobs that some of my clients have asked me. So I thought this would benefit you. Now I got this question with regards to, like, what is job security in the Gulf region, like the Middle East? I'll share with you this link from arabnews.com. It seems Oman is gradually increasing the level of jobs closed to expatriates. It seems that 200 nurses will be replaced according to Oman's Ministry of Health. It seems from March 14th onwards, these nurses who are expatriates will lose their job one by one. It seems that Oman also introduced a 6-month expat visa ban from January last year, because of which it seems that more than 64,386 expatriates lost their jobs and 4,125 in the government sector. So all these expatriates were sent back home. It also, as per a 2013 study, they don't have the latest one, this is the percentage of expatriates in the Middle East. 49% are in Saudi, 64% form in Bahrain, 71% Oman, 83% Kuwait, 94% in UAE, and 95% in Qatar. So this is the number of expatriates. Now, where it comes down to the future, the problem is more and more expats who are not getting jobs in their country keep coming down to, let's say, the Middle East. They search for jobs. They are ready to work even for half the salary. And because there's an oversupply, people who are actually having the jobs, they are pretty indispensable. They can lose their jobs at any point of time. And when you have the economy that is going back to us and is pretty risky on a slippery slope, especially with oil prices and they being dependent on how the West treats them, and especially now the OPEC is no longer unit. They don't have this unity between themselves. They're fighting among themselves. Iran versus Saudi, UAE versus Qatar, then USA versus, all the other regions. So there's no stability. So there's no assurance that you will have your job. And remember this, if you do lose your job, you have 15 to 30 days to get a new job. Otherwise, you have to leave the country. And if your spouse is under your visa, she has to leave the country. And if your children are under your visa, all have to leave the country and you have to start your life all over again. So my, my verdict is, if you're in the Middle East, know that you will lose your job at any point of time. That doesn't mean that everyone will lose their job. If your luck is bad or you don't give beyond 100% and perform every single time, yes, you will lose your job. Okay. And if you work for multinational companies, it is all dependent on how that global company performs internationally. Because if they don't perform internationally, even if you're the best in this particular region, if your department shuts down, you can lose your job. And I've witnessed this with friends of mine. Okay. Next one is a confidential letter from a company that is construction company, Arab Tech. I got this letter forwarded to me. It seems 10th February. The CEO has sent this letter. What he says is, I'm pleased to announce that the Arab Tech National Development Program, NDP, Arab Tech's National Development Program, will begin from 11th of February. It will act as a platform for providing young professionals an opportunity to work. And by young professionals, they mean UAE Emiratis. So spanning over the next 2 years, phase 1 will be the first of 3 phases, where they will employ local Arabs in different departments of Arab Tech construction. Phase 2 and 3 will be rotating these Arab locals in different departments and providing on-the-job training. And NDP is Arab Tech's vision to attract and develop UAE nationals for sustained growth. And in the end, he says, please join me in welcoming all our new members on board through this journey of Arab Tech. So the question that was asked to me, Lloyd, will this work or not work? Personally speaking, Arab locals, that is Emiratis, they don't have any fear. Why? Because UAE is their country. Anytime they want, they can resign. Anytime if they don't perform and if they are terminated, they don't have to worry because they don't have 30 days to get a new job. They can stay in the country, they can stay at home. In fact, it is a known fact that if you terminate an Arab Emirati local, he can take you to court and your company will experience a lot of problems. They can even have their visas frozen or the employment, benefit of theirs totally frozen. They cannot employ anyone unless the ministry says, go ahead, there's no more legal case on you. So when you have the law, favoring Arab locals and Emiratis, companies are always at a disadvantage. The second thing is they don't give a damn. They want high salaries. They hardly work. I'm not saying all of them don't work. The majority of them do not work. And they always have this superiority that it's my country, I'm local, what will you do? So you can't do anything to them. And Arab Tech is not a company that has been performing. It's losing billions every year. The question is, will Arab Tech survive the next 5 years or will it shut down? And why would a local want to work for Arab Tech when his or her dream is to work for the government, where the benefits are like 2 times more, 3 times more, 10 times more. They get bonuses every year. They get so many privileges every year. They can even get maternity leave for 1 year. So why will anyone work for a company like Arab Tech? So I just think this is a initiative that they're taken, but it's not going to work over the long run. Then you have news that a UAE firm got a $1 billion contract in India. It seems that Dubai's consortium, that is SEC Link, clinched a deal for a multi-billion-dollar facelift for the world's largest slum. SEC Link Group Chairman, that is Nilang Shah, have secured a bid to transform Mumbai's Dharavi region, which sprawls 2.4 kilometers, and 700,000 some dwellers, their lives are going to change. However, I checked Hindustan Times. They had a bit more information. What they said is this project is costing 13.54 billion dirhams, and it's going to have a potential of generating 15 billion. Okay, so they will spend around 13 billion on this. The cost, they are expected to get $15 billion, dollars. So they will spend 13 billion. Let me tell you how much is 13 billion. USD to AED. So if you press how much is 13, it's 3 billion. So they will spend 3 billion and they're expecting to get 15 billion. It seems that this bid was initiated by Dharavi's notified area by the government of Maharashtra. SEC Link emerged as the highest bidder with 3.73 billion that was quoted. The second highest bidder was Adnani Group, which quoted 2.35. So they quoted almost 1 billion dirhams more. So an MOU was signed, and now they are going to start the project with, the proposed hospitals and medical colleges and a lot of skilled training centers. So the question that was asked me, what do I think about this? Number one is, this is too much into the future. Number two is, there's a lot of speculation. Number three is, why is a Dubai firm not focused on projects in Dubai, but focused on projects in India? An Indian company that's set up in Dubai and is now focusing in India. I see something fishy in this link. I'm pretty sure when the government, the government is never stable, always keeps changing in India. You'll have a BJP or a Congress or someone. If one of those parties just springs up and says, I don't like you, and then they say, either give me money or I'm going to stop your project or cause problems, they'll give money under the table. And then someone will find out, then some complication will take place. I just look at this as pure speculation, too far-fetched, too many variables, and hope which is not realistic. You invest, let's say 3 billion and expect one day in the future to get 15 billion. That is, for me, it sounds too good to be true. And here's the biggest problem. You have 700,000 slum dwellers, citizens, 700,000. How comfortable would they be to know that someone is bulldozing their area and setting up something? I'm pretty sure there will be human rights, there'll be violations, there'll be strikes, protests. And in the end, this whole project is only going to be all big talk and no shit. But anyway, this is my assumption. Maybe I could be wrong. Let me know your views. I got a question by a reader. Like, what do you think of Pakistan giving the highest civilian honor to the Saudi Crown Prince? My answer is very simple. If someone were to give me $20 billion and say that he's investing $20 billion in my country, forget giving him the highest civilian award. I would give the highest award of highest everything. It's just a bloody award. It doesn't mean jack shit. You think, the Saudi prince is showing you, hey, I won this award, guys, I won this award, hey, I'm such a great man. No, he doesn't give a fuck about the award. He doesn't care a fuck about the award. This is just Pakistan's way of saying, I'm kissing your ass, giving you this worthless piece of shit award, which nobody recognizes. So thank you very much. I'm kissing your ass. And the Saudi guys, come kiss my ass, because I'm investing so much of shit and, so much of money into your country. Remember this much. Saudi is not suddenly in love with Pakistan. UAE is not in love with Pakistan. They have a hidden agenda. I can guarantee you this. I can assure you this. They want to use Pakistan's port and Pakistan's facilities for their hidden agenda. And that is why they're investing. Saudi and UAE suddenly did not become friends with Pakistan. Saudi especially is bloody racist to the core. They treat Asians like crap. You want proof? Go down to Saudi. You will realize how they treat Asians, okay? How they treat human beings. If you're not Saudi and you're not a Muslim, they'll treat you like jack shit. So don't expect, MBZ to suddenly be such a great human being, suddenly to love everyone. And I'm telling you this, someone invested 20 billion with me. Fuck, I would give him the biggest crotch award, highest, character award, greatest human being. I would put his photograph and worship it every single day for 20 billion US dollars. So I hope that is clear. Remember, this is a game of politics. And Imran Khan is desperately trying to attract foreign exchange. And he just wants to ensure that his tenure is great. So much money is coming in. Nobody invests in your country or in your home without having a hidden agenda. Okay, keep that much in mind. Next one is, Lloyd, what is your opinion of the Saudi app? There is a Saudi app, as for Reuters, that gave this report that you can monitor and control your female relatives' travel with a click of a button. It seems human rights said, oh, this is so bad, this is human rights abuse. This free app, which is called Absher, created by the Saudi Interior Ministry, allows men to update and withdraw permissions for their wives and female relatives. They get an SMS if their passports are used, and they get to track where they're going. It's like having a dog on a leash. So where are you going? Why are you going? Come back, so they can do that. So it seems this app is available on Google and Apple online stores. And it has been downloaded around 4.2 million times. Now, if you actually check Google Play, there are plenty of negative reviews, plenty. People are bashing Saudi and giving all negative reviews, which I understand. And then you have Apple Store, which says disgraceful abuse of human rights. Now, what do I think about it? This is the culture of Saudi people. This is the culture of Saudi Muslims. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm saying as a fact, Saudi men, Saudi Muslims, Arab Muslims, they have been born and raised with an upbringing where men are here, women are down there. So men can control women. And I do know a lot of Saudi women who like that, who enjoy that, and who want that. Yes, there are many who are rebellious like Rahaf, who want to break free, who want to leave. But there are also those who are pretty happy. Given that it has been downloaded 4.2 million times, it clearly shows you there's a market for this, who men enjoy keeping their wives like, on a leash. Where you're going, what you're doing, they're happy with that culture. So I would just say, if Saudis are happy, the Arab Muslims are happy, live and let live. You keep an app, you do whatever you want. If you don't like the app, don't download the app. And, if you actually look at it, in Saudi, Muslims can divorce their wife with a text. Talaq, 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 3 times, divorce. It's divorced. So men have that privilege, women don't have. And this is their culture and they're very happy with it. So none of my business. You're happy, you're happy. You want to, keep your wife like a leash, fine. If you actually look at it, some of them dress up black, like a ninja, with only the eyes opening, because they, as per their religion, they shouldn't see their beauty. They shouldn't get turned on. Even though some of them look like buffaloes and cows, not everyone looks hot, just to say. And for them, they feel when they cover their hands and their wrist and their ankles, it's much better than, say, Kim Kardashian showing her shoulders. And so there are 2 extremes. One is dressing up like a black garbage bag, which looks like that. Another one is dressing up like a slut. There's no in-between where you can show your hair. No, you can. So each to his own. Like for some people, this tattooed face is extreme, and some people feel not having tattoos is decent, even though you can be watching porn and going to prostitutes. But externally, you have to show you're decent. So each to his own. That's what I have to tell you. Live and let live. Then I was asked, what do I think about the jihad bride? If you go to Daily Mail online, you have ISIS jihad bride, that is Shamima Begum, who is a former UK schoolgirl, who decided to get married to one of those ISIS guys. She got married to him, decided to go to Syria to experience bliss and freedom, as per what the report says. But she gave birth at the age of 19. I think at the age of 15 she left. Yeah. At the age of 19, she gave birth to a son. She got dumped into a refugee camp in Syria. Now she's appealing to the UK. Please take me back and have sympathy for me. But it seems that she's okay with the beheading of people. She's okay with the bombing that took place in UK. It seems that she had a good time in Syria. She doesn't regret whatever she has done. She's not apologetic for her extremist views. But she believes, even though she has these extremist views, UK should still take care of her and her child. And she believes that under Islamic law, which is paradise for her, you can do anything. The only reason she wants to come back is because one of her sons died and she wants to get out and ensure that her second child is taken care of. What is my opinion? I think she should be kept there only, or she should be allowed to go to any Islamic state or Muslim state where they appreciate such views. If you come down to UK, follow the UK law, appreciate UK, don't spit and bite the hand that feeds you, and don't expect after spitting, biting and betraying the hand that feeds you that they have an obligation to look after you. If UK takes her back, I blame the UK. I think UK is filled with idiots if they take her back. If I was there, I would absolutely ban her. In fact, I would put an arrest warrant that she should be jailed for life, okay, with her and offsprings and everyone else, because people like her deserve to remain there with those extremists. Her children died, that's her problem. Who the hell asked her to go there? And now she's in a refugee camp expecting to come back like a queen. Please shut up and be there. If someone betrayed me, never come back. Okay, this is a common question. Lloyd, what is this Expo 2020? What is this Expo and why do you keep saying that Expo is going to be a disaster for UAE? So I thought I'll answer this question. Okay, now let's understand simple. I've done research, so bear with me on this. What is an Expo? An Expo it's nothing but an exhibition. It's an exhibition where people from all over the world meet at a single point. They advertise and showcase art, food, culture, entertainment, and they are trying to get investors. They show their stuff. Like, let's say, for example, I'm from France. I will go down to UAE, show my wonderful stand, visit France. France is great. These are the companies, 20 companies of France who have decided to take our stall with us. This may be printing, this may be app development, this may be HR, this may be migration. So that is what Expo is. Or this may be restaurants, this may be entertainment. So they have, each country books a area, and in that area you have different exhibitors. So this is what an Expo is. Nothing out of the world. Simple. Now, when it comes down to a large scale that a country is hosting a global Expo, that is where it's not a company that is organized, it's a country. So when a country is organizing, they start building, stadiums and buildings. Like, for example, when a country hosts Olympics, they will build 10 stadiums, one for football, one for, indoor events, one for running and all those athletic events, track and field events, one for skiing, one for water sports. So they will build this infrastructure. Apart from these stadiums, they also have to build hotels where people can stay. They also have to build entertainment centers. They also have to build, let's say, parks and all that, so that when people come and visit there, they have a good view and opinion of the country, and at the same time, they spend money. However, when you build all this, you have to spend money also. And at the same time, you also have to advertise. You have to advertise in the papers of different countries, social media of different countries. You have to, book banners, street ads. You have to do a lot of things. And you have to have business, B2B businesses, invite other people, incentivize them. People say no, convince them to come, give them attractive rates, do whatever it takes to get the exhibitors there, do whatever it takes to get people, like you can give discounted tickets, you can give discounted stay, you can give package deals, visit 10 places, I'll give you a good package, come down with your family, we'll give you swimming, we'll give you photography, we'll give video, we'll give you travel, whatever. So they give a lot of benefits. Now, this is what a global Expo is. In the past, Expos were more about culture and, experience, visit our country. But today it's not only commercial, it's also political, because countries want to show their power. And this was clearly shown with China. When China had its Expo, when China hosted the Olympics, the reason that they did that was to make a bold statement. However, over the years, the cost for hosting events like the Olympics has gradually risen. It went from millions to 100 millions to billions, and now it has gone to double digits or triple digits, which is in billions, which is huge. And what people have realized is, after we build all these infrastructure and spend all these billions, there's no guarantee that you are going to get a profit or it's going to benefit you. Case in point, Greece, Athens. Case in point, China. They have all these stadiums, but now these stadiums are empty, they are deserted, and it's a waste of structure and space. Even to break and demolish that costs money. So they just left it to rot and die, and this has harmed the economy. And when people borrow billions and are not able to pay back, the country collapses. Now, let me give you some of the history of Expos. You had in 1992 the Spain Expo, which they were expecting to attract 40 million visitors. But despite all the marketing efforts, they got lower attendance. It was a big waste of resources, and they ended up having to pay loans to different governments. The special buildings that were constructed, they decided not to demolish that, but they use it. But now these buildings also are left deserted. So The Civil Expo in Spain didn't prove to be any benefit, proved to be a loss after spending millions. Okay. Then you had the Hanover Expo, where they advertised in 2000 in Germany, where they advertised 19,000 jobs and 100,000 temporary jobs, and we will get a revenue of 17 billion. Okay, 17 billion of the local currency. The drawbacks, well, the branding was not clear. Time magazine stated, the organizers have failed to convey a public, clear image of what this Expo 2000 is. Is it entertainment? Is it a museum? Is it a natural reserve? What are you talking? The biggest drawback was they didn't have a proper theme. Each country was only advertising about itself in a different manner. There was no in sync of all the efforts. And they ended up with paying high prices. And out of the 40 million predicted tickets, they only sold 20 million. And they ended up losing 1 billion. Okay, 1 billion US dollars. So the second Expo, Hanover, was a big disaster. Then you have the Shanghai Expo. Shanghai Expo claimed that they would get 70 million visitors. But the controversy was they closed down buildings, businesses, the shipyard, and factories. They closed down all this because they wanted a clean area. That area, they removed all the locals from there, relocated them. It was very controversial. Many human rights they blamed, but because China is controlled, they couldn't do anything. China spent $5 billion to host the Expo. They borrowed from banks, they borrowed issuing treasury bonds. However, in comparison to the Seville in Spain and Hanover, for them, it was a benefit because they were able to showcase their power. Developers made money. Global brands came in like Apple, Tiffany, Ermenegildo, Zenga, very big name. They had 80% hotel occupancy, and China benefited from branding. Okay, so China, you have two countries that didn't benefit. China benefited. It didn't give them any financial profits, but it helped the brand as a whole, as a country. Then you have Milan, which is 2015. In 2015, this was supposed to be the biggest loss and most controversial. Why? Because they had promised, millions of jobs and, billions of dollars revenue. The jobs never came because Milan asked everyone to volunteer for working. They said, we're not going to pay you. Come down as volunteers. We'll give you certificates and all that, just like how UAE is doing it. So there was no employment. There was no improvement in unemployment. Nobody got any tangible benefit. The theme of the Expo was healthy lifestyle, promote organic slow food, promote local agriculture and local businesses, and support healthy eating and a healthy life. The controversy came when their key sponsors were Coca-Cola and McDonald's. Not very organic, not very healthy. The amount spent on this Expo was 13 billion pounds. And the worst part was most of the infrastructure, not none, most of the infrastructure was not completed. The contractors literally had to camouflage and hide the incomplete construction. And then they realized that there was a lot of corruption, a lot of bribery. Overall, it was a loss of, whatever 13 billion they spent, pounds, they never recovered it. Now comes Expo 2020, connecting minds, creating a future. Wow, what a great theme. So now the question is, will it be a success or failure? Once again, they are repeating what was done in Milan. One is volunteer, come, volunteer, become volunteers, work for free so that you get experience. That's number one, which they are repeating the same disaster. Second one is the Expo 2020 is going to be hosted in the middle of a perfect storm. That is the recession. Right now you have, like I told you, UAE versus Qatar, Iran versus Saudi, and US, breaking up the peace that is there. Oil prices are down, unemployment is high, most of the experienced people are leaving. And because of social media today, people have realized, the new generation, that I'm not going to get citizenship, so why should I remain in UAE? Let me migrate to a country that gives me a passport. So salaries are reduced, inflation is rising, unemployment is increasing, people are migrating to a different country where there's a job security. New people are coming, but with no experience, so you do not have talent. And then you have UAE, which has a bad track record for giving you super hyper speculative news like, oh, we will build the islands, world islands, which is incomplete. The Palm 123, which is incomplete. Waterfront, which is incomplete. Al Maktoum International Airport, which will attract 200 million or 800 million visitors, which is dead and empty. Nobody's there. So people have realized UAE just gives you so many promises but doesn't deliver. They also give you false statistics. Like they say, 65 million footfall will be in shopping malls, which is actually less than 25. So 45 million is extra. Rules keep changing every time. Every year you have a new rule that comes up. Okay, from now you're going to pay back. Oh, next year you're not going to pay back. Oh, you'll be jailed. Oh, this national. So there is no uniformity of rules. 99-year visa. Oh, sorry, it's going to be 10-year visa. Oh, sorry, no, it's going to be 5-year visa, 1-year visa. Every year there is change. And everyone knows UAE treasury is empty because Dubai has to pay billions to Abu Dhabi. So it's under loan. It has borrowed money. It's showing off by borrowed money. So due to all this, how do you expect Expo 2020 to be a success? And here's the bigger thing. You're creating this artificial city, this artificial buildings, just for this event. After the event is over and people go, what are you going to use these buildings for? What are you going to use those oversupplied houses, oversupplied buildings and apartments? Who's going to stay there? The prices of real estate will crash even further. Landlords will be empty. Banks will realize that loans are being defaulted. Economy will go down to the dogs. What do you do? So I just look at Expo as nothing but a hyped up exhibition where nobody is clear how is this going to benefit the country. It's just an exhibition. People come, exhibit and go back. Nothing is going to happen to UAE other than UAE realizing, shit, we spend billions to build these buildings, promote, and now everyone promised me they will invest. Nobody's investing. What do I do? That is what is going to happen for Expo 2020. I hope you realize. Put your comments. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. Okay, let me know if I'm right or wrong. I'm sure you say, Dubai is a great country, survived so many years. Okay, fine, agreed, whatever. Put your comments, I'll read them. Next one. This one is proof, actual proof that UAE does spy on your phones. It can spy very easily. It spies on your social media. They can access all your information and I will share with you proof. Now, there are many geniuses who, when they send me a message, they'll send me a message and before I read it, they delete it. I don't know. What are they thinking? They're thinking that nobody can read it or they are just paranoid. Now, let me share with you proof to tell you whatever you put on social media, whatever is there on your smartphone, whatever is there on your desktop, if it is connected to an internet, UAE has already seen everything. I'll share with you proof. Reuters, this report, I'll put the link in the description box below. It says that UAE employs, that is ex-NSA, National Security Agency, which is a spy agency in USA, how they helped UAE spy on dissidents, rival leaders and journalists. And further, if you read the article, they have even spied on Emiratis and citizens. Now, this is an article dated 30th January 2019. The article is reported, it's a report on Project Raven. Now, what is Project Raven? It is UAE's secret program for hacking where they use American mercenaries. Now, these mercenaries, like you see in these movies, they work for the CIA, FBI, whatever. And once they leave, they are free agents and they can share their experience, expertise for the highest bidder. Now, this confession was by an American citizen. Her name is Laurie Stroud, who is an ex-NSA hacker and spy. Her specialty was hunting for vulnerabilities in computer systems and smart devices. And she worked for foreign governments. She worked against foreign governments like China, analyzing what data should be taken and not. Her credentials: in 2003 to 2009, she worked as a military service member. Then 2009 to 2014, she joined a spy contracting agency called Booz Allen Hamilton. Now, all this, this big article, I'm just giving you a very short form. It took me around 5 days to summarize this, so please bear with me. Then in 2013, as she was working for Booz Allen Hamilton, in 2013, she bumped into a Dell technician and CIA operative. turns out this guy was very smart and she was very impressed with him and she requested for him to be added to her team. However, this proved to be one of her biggest mistakes because this guy's name was Edward Snowden. If you have not known who's Edward Snowden, please do your research. Edward Snowden was the controversial whistleblower who exposed USA and proved to the world that USA spies on all its citizens, on all heads of state, on all countries. Okay, he exposed, which is, I don't know what's so great about it because everyone does this. Every country spies. It's not just UAE, USA, Saudi, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, Iceland, Denmark. Everybody spies on everybody else, including their citizens, but they don't admit this. It's a dirty little truth, the dirty laundry that nobody talks about. So it's not surprising for me that UAE is doing that. It's normal. It's actually very normal. If you could employ the services of someone to spy on your competitor and your family members and everyone else, maybe you would even do this. Okay. So after she recommended Edward Snowden and Edward Snowden betrayed the country, not just company, she realized she was also to blame because, she should have done her homework. So I think, the company lost its reputation, got destroyed. And then she was obviously hunting for another job. May 2014, she got this amazing offer from UAE where they were ready to offer her $200,000 tax-free. Where in USA, you have to pay, let's say, 45% tax or whatever. Here, they are going to give her $200,000 tax-free plus housing, plus accommodation, plus school, plus family, plus medical, plus this, plus that, plus bonus, plus maybe extra without even revealing. So she was like, wow, who would say no? Even I wouldn't say no. And the range was between $200,000 to $400,000. So where she was getting only, say, $100,000, here she got double, triple, or 4 times more, quadruple. She got 4 times her. If I would get 4 times more per month, plus accommodation, food, housing, everything, children, who wouldn't take it? And plus, she must have got a very high position. So she was very happy. UAE, I love you. USA, bye-bye. So she went there and she started working from 2014 onwards. Now, with regards to UAE, UAE created this project, Project Raven, where what they were doing was they used to employ the best hackers around the world to hack and spy into people's smartphones and internet and emails and Gmails and everything else. So the goal was, let us spy on whomsoever is a threat to the country. So they spied on anyone who spoke differently to UAE, like human rights, journalists, political rivals, even expats and Emiratis. Now, proof of this, which I will talk to you about. Now, before 2012, it seems Emirati agents, or they would employ, let's say, telecommunications company, or let's say someone who will fix the electricity in your house or whatever, they would come into your house. So let's say, for example, a guy from Etisalat or Do will say, sir, we have to fix your router. Sir, we have to fix your connection. Now, you not being technical, you wouldn't know what they're doing with your router or what they're doing with the connection. Maybe they'll open your router, click something there, or they'll open your connection, put something extra there. You'll think this is an electrical connection. Obviously, you don't know electricity or the mechanics. You'll keep quiet. They will unscrew the whole thing, put something there, screw it, and lock it. In fact, when they give you these special offers, take this new iPhone, interest free, take it for free, 2 years package, take this Samsung, 2 years free, just pay the package, the phone is free. You don't think that there is something in the phone, you don't think there's something in the device, if you don't think you're an idiot, okay? All these devices have something. They come with pre-programmed software or they come with a hardware which detects everything, okay? And I don't say this is wrong because this is done by every country. That is why they discourage you from buying an iPhone, let's say from United States and using it in UAE. Or you buy from another country and you use it because the software, there's a clash. Even when there is a software update from Apple or there's a software update from any company, you think they don't use spyware or any way to track all your data and information. Everybody does it. Okay, the fact is everyone does it. So, before what they were doing is physically going there and putting these added hardware or software, spyware in your, or malware or virus or whatever into your systems, your phones or your routers. And they use this on people. That is how they caught this guy, Ahmed Mansoor. As per Wikipedia, who's Ahmed Mansoor? As per Wikipedia, Ahmed Mansoor is one of the Emirati activists. He was arrested as one of UAE's 5. I'll speak more about UAE 5 later. In 2011. In 2015, this guy received the Martin Annals Award for Human Rights Defenders. He was once again detained in 2017, accused of using social media to publish false and misleading information. This is as per Wikipedia. Okay. UN rights experts considered his arrest and imprisonment a direct attack on the legitimate work of human rights defenders in UAE. In March 2018, as per Wikipedia, after a year of detention in solitary confinement, means alone in a small room, dark, nothing, nobody there for 1 year, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison and fined 1 million dirhams. Okay. I don't know if he has that much money. 2019, it was revealed that Mansoor, this guy, Emirati, he has been a target of Project Raven, the project which I told you about, 2009. So that project by now was 10 years. So he was the target of this project, a UAE clandestine surveillance and hacking program targeting not only other governments, but militants, human rights activists, critical of UAE monarchy. Ahmed Mansoor's code name was Egret. And there was another target called Gyro. Gyro was the code name for Rory Donaghy. By June 2017, Project Raven had hacked into Mansoor's wife Nadia and given her the code name Purple Egret. So Ahmed Mansoor was Egret, his wife was Purple Egret, and there was another code name Gyro, which was Rory Donaghy. I'll speak to you more about it later. I like these spy names, you know. The eagle has landed. Guys. There is the frog on the Eucalyptus leaf. The frog on the you know, they have these James Bond kind of names. Okay. Anyway. Now remember I told you Ahmed Mansoor was part of UAE 5. Now what is UAE 5? As per Wikipedia, very short, the United Arab Emirates 5 are 5 activists who were arrested in April 2011. So they were arrested on the charge of defamation by insulting UAE President Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Vice President Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, that is Sheikh Mohammed, and Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. So it seems that they insulted them. They had a defamation running anti-government website that expressed anti-government views. And they were arrested. Who are the people arrested? Nasser bin Gaith, Emirati economist and lecturer at Abu Dhabi branch of Paris Sorbonne University. So he was the lecturer. Ahmed Mansoor, Emirati engineer, blogger and human rights activist. Fahad Salim Dalk, he is an Emirati online activist. Hassan Ali Khamsi, Emirati online activist. Ahmed Abdul Khalik, a Bedoon online activist. So they were bloggers. So they were considered the bad guys. And they got jailed. So I'll put the link below in the description box. Read more about it. So if you blog anything or you give anything that is against the government, obviously you will be jailed. Maybe that is why UAE is so stable and secure. It's not being rocked. That is why there's peace and harmony, because they jail anybody who has opposing views. Now, you remember I was telling you this, this code name Gyro. Okay, this guy's name is Rory Donaghy. He's a British journalist and activist who authored many articles with regards to countries' human rights records. As per Wikipedia, he's a senior associate at Cornerstone Global Associates, where he works on refugee and labor-related issues for Middle East and North Africa. It seems he wrote an opinion piece in The Guardian where he criticized the UAE government's activist crackdown and warned those in power face an uncertain future. So because he did that, because he was doing all this, they made sure they spied on him, they put spyware, whatever, and they were able to get his information. Okay, so now back to Raven, which is the main project which I was talking to you about. Now, as Americans built up Raven, these mercenaries which we employed, remote hacking, very soon remote hacking became possible. What is remote hacking? You know, there are these softwares where if you install, I can't get the name. If I remember, I'll tell you. So where if you download that software, and let's say someone, I'm in Thailand, someone in India downloads that software and someone in US. From here, I can access your computer there. I can actually check everything. I can delete files, I can install anything, I can change everything, and people have been doing that. I have also been doing that. So now remote hacking was possible without people giving their permission. And how was this possible? Because they employed all these great hackers with great minds and these software updates and patches. And when when you go to an airport or when you go to a shopping mall and you join the Wi-Fi connection, they can access everything in your smartphone devices. So whenever you go to an airport and you use free Wi-Fi, remember you're given an explicit permission to check everything in your phone. Why do you think most of the airports give you free Wi-Fi? Why do you think most of the shopping malls give you free Wi-Fi? They spy on everything. Okay, so payments were made by Bitcoin, so they couldn't be traced. Servers were rented anonymously across the globe, so information was kept everywhere, encrypted in servers, so nobody knew what was going on. Then, once, Raven employed so many of these Americans, and these Americans were busy training these Emirati locals, they decided, why are we employing these Americans when we can run this by ourselves? So their goal was, we will brain drain, learn all their tricks, and very soon we'll kick them out, which is normal. So they started employing a lot of Emiratis, and they created this new company called Dark Matter. Sounds like a James Bond movie, Dark Matter, which was founded in 2014. The gentleman who founded this is Faisal Al-Banani, as per this Reuters report. Faisal Al-Banani is also created Axiom Telecom. I'm pretty sure the orange branding, that nice ad, which comes in the theaters. So he's that visionary guy who created Axiom, one of the largest sellers of mobile devices in the region. He created this. Just imagine, he creates mobile devices. He gives you those mobile devices, and what is in that software? You can just make the connection, 1 + 1 is 2. Okay. So they wanted Dark Matter to be run 100% by Emiratis. So the original idea is, take the brains from Americans, learn the techniques, and after that, wallahi, bye-bye. We are local, we don't want American. Okay. So they started learning. And then, all these popular uprisings that were taking place in 2011, the UAE decided to take, tighten its control. Today, they have around 650 employees. If you check their website, you can get some bits of information, but I'm pretty sure whatever information that you see there is all what they want to use. And remember this much, once you log into their website, I'm 100% sure they will be tracking you. So know this. Even if you use VPN, no matter what VPN you use, you can try Express VPN, but after a few seconds, they will find out. So use for a few seconds and then get out. Use Express VPN. They have not paid me anything, but that is by far one of the best. At least as of now. Others use it, whichever VPN you like. Express VPN, you can pay me some money for this. Okay. So it seems that one of their biggest achievements, one of the biggest ones, they created this tool, cyber tool called Karma. Nice name, Karma. This tool hacked into all the iPhones and all the social media accounts. Now, does it make sense? Why did they give free iPhones? Why Axiom Telecom gives you, they are doing very well in selling smartphone devices. Okay. So Karma allowed UAE users, the UAE to track your email, location, text messages, photography, videos, everything. If you had an iPhone, simply just by connecting to the internet, they were able to check your email, location, text message, photographs, everything. Where once you connect to the Wi-Fi or internet, it would upload some code and they would have access to everything. It seems 5 former project employees of that admitted this because they created this software. In 2016 and 2017, they targeted hundreds of targets across Middle East and Europe, including the government of Qatar, Yemen, Iran, Turkey. It seems even the iPhone used by the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and his entire family, they were able to spy on this. Now, you see, from UAE, they were even able to break into QTEL and check Qatar and Bahrain, Saudi, Oman. I'm sure they must be doing it with everyone. Okay. Now, the problem is, the big problem internationally, yes, it is illegal to share classified information, but there's no law that prevents these internet hackers or mercenaries from working for different countries. So if you're American, you can work for Pakistan, you can work for Israel, you can work anywhere. Obviously, you cannot work for the enemy, like Iran. If you're American, you can't work for Iran. If you're Irani, you can't work for America. But you can work for any other country. So all the countries are spying on everyone else. And it's very easy. You just give them a link. Nowadays, you don't even have to give a link or an email. It's very easy to spy on everyone. So like I tell you, if everyone's spying on everyone, why the fuck you bother? Like when I was in UAE, I knew this was happening. So I kept no firewall. I just kept everything open. Never hid any account. Never kept permission only. Because someone can create a fake account and add me up. And how do I know that? Maybe someone paid, you know, let's say $5,000. Forget $1,000 to someone who I knew. And they can spy on me from my own friend. So what's the point? Maybe my friend clicked on a virus. And when he was talking to me, that virus got transferred. Anything can happen. So that's why I always kept it open. So like I told you, if you have done nothing wrong, there's nothing to worry about. Now, that doesn't mean you start becoming paranoid. Oh, I forwarded this link, I'll be arrested. Oh, I watched porn, I'll be arrested. Just relax the fuck up. Okay? Like I told you, anything that is connected online, from your security cameras, to your video, to your laptop, to your smartphone, any device, they can spy on you. The best way not to be spied, just don't have an internet connection, don't have a smartphone, don't have a computer connected to the internet. Just stay in a forest, nobody can spy on you. Okay? Unless they send someone to search for you. So it seems when Reuters asked Apple, they asked UAE Embassy in Washington, UAE Ministry of Foreign Affairs, NSA, Qatar Embassy, Dark Matter, even Raven, employees of Raven, everyone had no comments. It seems this poor female who, Laurie Stroud, who confessed all this, right now she is hiding in an undisclosed location in USA because she fears for her life from UAE. Okay, so that's one. Now, obviously, the question is, Lloyd, what about your life? Well, I'm a small little peanut. I just read Reuters and I share the information. So, you know, they won't get anything by me. Okay, whatever. Even if they do, I die. Finish. That's the end of it. Then you'll have to get someone else. Okay. Anyway, coming to the next one, someone shared with me this image. This is what readers share. It is "Thank You" by Danube. We sold out in 5 days. Like I told you, once you take a banner, you can put sold out in 3 days. You can put sold out in 24 hours. You can put sold out in 8 hours. Who's there to verify? Is this a government? Is this a public company which has independent auditors checking that anyone can check their books of accounts? Anyone can speak to any of their employees and get accurate information? No. So you can book any hoarding. You can say anything. Like I can put my photograph and say, I've embraced Islam. So how do you know if I'm actually following Islam? So anyone can put anything. Danube wants you to believe that they are doing very well. They are selling like hotcakes. So they put this ad. So it's a good branding exercise. Next one is, the reason why I don't entertain people is idiots like this. I got this college student who sent me this message. How to control the urge to masturbate during exam time. He's sending me this message. How can he, control his urge to masturbate? He's asking me, as if I'm sitting here with dick-related problems. Get in touch with me. I'll tell you how to control your dick. Very simple. I told him, put your balls in the fucking freezer, chop your dick off. Maybe he'll answer. Fucking idiot. And last and not the least, India, which is a great country filled with great Indians, just because I put my opinion that violence is bad, we should not hate Pakistanis, that we do not understand politics. Sundar Raj, the great Sundar Raj, who is a keyboard warrior, says, once you come to India, I'm waiting for you. You don't care about the Indian army. What is he going to do? Sit there with a gun. I'm waiting with a gun. Or what are you waiting? With your mother bending over so that someone takes her ass? What the fuck? Mr. Sundar Raj, what you're waiting? Why don't you give your passport number, your home number, your phone number, your location, send all these details so we can advertise and say, Sundar Raj is waiting, Sundar Raj, the great, threatening online, great keyboard warrior, cartoon. And last if not the least, this is a fake name, Allah Ki Machud. Okay, Allah Ki Machud, which is, if you know Hindi, you know that it's a bad word. So what he told me is, you will care, because I said, nobody cares about people dying. Nobody cares. So he said, you will care, you will hate them. Trust me, when a Paki terrorist kills your wife and child, They have a great imagination. Somebody will kill my wife and child. My wife and child, they are Thai people. They stay in Thailand. They don't hate Indians. They have nothing to do with Indians. They don't have nothing to do with terrorists. They are villagers. Why will anyone kill them? That is number one. Second one is, why Pakistani terrorists? Why not Indian terrorists? Why not some other terrorists? Okay. Third one is, how do you know, my friend, how do you know that it is not a game of politics, that someone internally didn't bribe someone? Like, for example, September 9/11, those two towers that fell down. How is it possible that people from a mountainous region where they're herding with their goats, how is it that those Afghanis who hardly even don't even have an internet connection, don't even have a computer, they were able to infiltrate the most secure country in the world, control 7 aircrafts at the same time, in the same day, fly through the no-fly zone and attack not only two towers, disrupt the entire system of the greatest, most intelligent, most sophisticated country in the world. And nobody in USA knew that? You expect me to believe this was the brains of a guy who is with goats, with one rifle in a mountain, that he was able to fool an entire country of the entire brains, you expect me to believe that? Well, I'm sorry, I don't. And those two towers, metal, with so many steel bars, it just, it's like having a steel bar just flattened like that. It was just because an aircraft went through that. Just a little bit of heat, and both those towers fell at the same time within 7 seconds. And the third tower, which no aircraft hit, that also collapsed. That collapsed with nothing hitting it. How did it collapse? Nobody knows. So, like I said, people like to believe whatever is put on media. That is why George Bush made sure all the evidence, instead of scanning and searching and having a team find out what actually happened, they cleaned up everything, dumped it, burnt it, and got it over with. So if you believe all this is by one guy in the mountain, you're a genius. Like I said, my dear friends, don't believe everything you see online, hear online. Understand there's much more than meets the eye. And like I always say, please put your comments down below. Like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't like it, thumbs down. And I look forward to reading all your thoughts. Get in touch with me. My details are put down below. And this is me saying goodbye for now. Take care, guys.